Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 110 of our WWE 2022 Save and TEW 2020. This is SmackDown for March, week 2. And I know it's been a little bit longer. Usually I try to do 1 to 2 per week on the WWE Save these days. I know this one a little bit longer between episodes. I think we did a little over a week. But of course, you guys have seen on the channel, we started the new C-Verse Save with TCW, and I know a lot of people have been really into that. So try to get a couple episodes out pretty quickly for that series, and we'll continue to do that here as we move forward. The C-Verse is definitely, as I've mentioned on those episodes, a nice break from booking the 100-plus rosters of WWE and AEW. So sometimes that is needed. So, hey, it's as we all play the game, sometimes you get into certain saves a little bit more of a groove, and that was the case with the C-Verse so far, and having a lot of fun with it. But we have to get to WrestleMania for the WWE Save, and so let's jump into SmackDown, a very important edition here with only a couple episodes to go before WrestleMania. We start with the pre-show. Elias gets the win over R-Truth, 641. For this one, 51 overall for the rating. Not a lot to say with this. We've had Elias and Otis teaming up, of course. We do have some plans for them, but as you'll see, after WrestleMania, it's a little bit of a, I don't say a full reset, but there will be some changes and, some significant in certain areas in terms of the roster and such, but we'll talk about that after WrestleMania. But for now, not much going on for Elias as he gets the win here over R-Truth. All right, we're starting off with a bang here because we go right into action in progress. And no, it's not a match, but instead it is Sami Zayn being thrown around. He's thrown into the guardrail here by The Miz, and this is coming off of sort of our big reveal last week. The Miz had intentions that he was going to go in and, basically double-cross Sami Zayn finally. He was going to put it all out there, take out Sami Zayn. That was his plan. But when he got to the ring, turns out Sami Zayn had sort of found his own reveal of sorts as we played the clip on the screen showing The Miz back, months ago, smashing Sami's button that he gave him, and then, kind of showing Miz trying to get the pin on Sami at No Way Out, which ultimately led to John Cena winning the United States title. So Sami got a little revenge on The Miz, and now we start off with a very pissed off Miz, who apparently has found Sami Zayn. Zayn was coming out to the ring, but Miz jumped him before we even came on the air, and now he's throwing him into the guardrail. Then we take it to The Miz hitting the skull-crushing finale on the table. So he set this up for Sami Zayn. All hell is broken loose here to start SmackDown as The Miz getting his revenge on Sami now. And so skull-crushing finale on the table, 67. Sami's down and out. So we've got the officials coming over to check on Sami. Well, The Miz is not done, though, because Miz gets in the ring. He's got a microphone. He's just, you can see him. He's just shaking here. He's very angry. And that's when Miz says that he's taking care of Sami Zayn, but now John Cena has what he wants, and that's the United States Championship. And if Cena says he's a fighting champion, then he's going to accept The Miz's challenge tonight for that match. So The Miz has laid it out there. Cena's talked about sort of not necessarily saying it in as many words as he's restarting the U.S. title open challenge, but he has said he's a fighting champion, beat Humberto Carrillo last week in an open challenge. Now The Miz has laid out the challenge for John Cena tonight on SmackDown. Will Cena accept? We will find out. But bigger issue is Sami Zayn has been taken out by The Miz as things have exploded here between The Miz and Sami without question. So 83 for this segment. All right, that's going to take us into the first match, which does not do great, but it is what it is. Deonna Purrazzo gets the win over Tamina. 5 minutes here, 47 rating. I kind of hated putting Tamina in the spot, in all honesty, but we didn't really have many other options, and we needed someone that had some overness, because if not, we would have gotten penalized for having two workers that crowd didn't care about. And as we keep saying, the reason why that is, well, for starters, because we're a big company, we have we're huge size now, so we need people to be a little bit higher up on the popularity scale. Purrazzo's not quite there yet. She's still in that low 40 range, so it's not ideal, but Tamina had more overness, and we just needed to kind of not get that penalty, basically. So she does get bonus here from being in amazing form. We haven't used her much, though, in this save. So 47 for this one. Purrazzo gets the win. Of course, we know she is in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. More development to come on that match here shortly. All right, now we get backstage, and John Cena has arrived at the building, and Pat McAfee catches up with him immediately, and McAfee asks Cena, John, I don't know if you just saw, and Cena said, yeah, Pat, I just walked in. Someone just told me as I walked in what happened with The Miz. And Cena just says, I had other plans, but you know what? I'm not going to turn down a challenge, and especially not from The Miz. I've already beaten him, and I'll beat him again tonight to keep this championship right here. So Cena officially accepts The Miz's challenge. That is going to be our main event for this edition of SmackDown for the United States Championship. So a former WrestleMania main event here on SmackDown for the United States Championship. So it's accepted. And so as we get Cena accepting it, we see Cena look over, and McAfee's looking over too, as we have the officials helping Sami Zayn to the back here to the trainer's area. And so Sami in a bad way here, as McAfee and Cena sort of looking over at Sami, who's been taken out, as we said, by The Miz. So our match is official for the main event, and this gets an 83 for this segment. All right, speaking of matches, six-man tag here, as it is the trio of Grand Metalik, Humberto Carrillo, and Lince Dorado getting the win over Apollo Crews, Baron Corbin, and Jinder Mahal. 8-23, so kind of a surprise win here for these three, who are not as over as these three combined. But unfortunately, these three have really played sort of the jobber to the stars role in our save as the heels on SmackDown. But look, I mean, in-ring performances, pretty much everyone had a better in-ring performance. Apollo Crews was the only one that, was kind of better than these other two. But you look at these in particular, and it's very interesting to kind of see just the in-ring performance for these three guys here. And so they get the win, and as we know, we mentioned it on Raw, Angel Garza had revealed kind of the special WrestleMania showcase match, the Lucha Libre showcase, where it will be Garza and the Mysterios taking on this trio here of Metalik, Humberto, and Lince Dorado. So we know that's on the card. Unfortunately for these three, not a lot happening, but again, after WrestleMania, you may start to see a little bit more involvement with one or two of these guys. So 63 here for this one. All right, now for this segment, 85. We get here as it is Mick Foley, Seth Rollins, and Rollins, kind of walks into Foley's office, and Foley just says, look, Seth, I wanted to bring you in here before we go out there tonight to sign this contract. He said, I kind of hesitate to do this, but this is what we have to do. Last week you gave me the Money in the Bank briefcase. Now we are in a situation where we have to sign this contract. And so I've made it clear, I've got security in place. We're not going to let anybody else out there. It's going to be, me, you, Roman Reigns, and of course, Paul Heyman. And that's when, Rollins kind of looks down, and you can sort of, see his tone change a little bit, knowing that Heyman is officially back, as we saw at the end of last week's SmackDown, the big reveal with Reigns talking to Heyman, wearing the neck brace and all this from Rollins when he gave him the multiple curb stomps a while back. So Foley just says, I just need you one night here. Control your anger. This match doesn't happen if we don't sign this contract. You've already given me the Money in the Bank briefcase. We need to get this taken care of. So I just need you to control yourself for one night tonight. Then you can do whatever the hell you want to do to Roman Reigns after that. So Rollins, a little reluctant here, but he says, Mick, I'll do my best. And so that's kind of where we're at here, leading into that segment where it will be signing the contract. Because what has ever gone wrong with a contract signing in wrestling? It's a popular trope, but you know what? It's so fun to come up with how a contract signing can go wrong. We'll see if anything goes wrong with this one. 85 for the segment. All right, now, my goodness, 79 here. Wow, Gunther just coming through again. I mean, if you'd have told me that Gunther and Ivar were going to get pretty much an 80 match, I don't know what I would have had to say, but here we are, another win for the one and only Gunther here as he gets a win over Ivar, 745. So now he's beating the Viking Raiders in back-to-back weeks. I hate that he's had to do that, but you know what? Haven't had a lot of options on the roster here. But Gunther gets the win over Ivar, 79. I'm just like, unbelievable this guy is. So, yeah, I didn't really do anything special either. Regular match, decisive finish, that's about it. So, yeah, I mean, the man is a beast. So, that's your match there for that one. So, Gunther gets another win. We get a video package here looking at the first match between Bianca Belair And Asuka, remember, you have to go all the way back early in our save. What was that? I was to say it was the second month of our save, maybe? I don't remember the exact thing. But we do get a video kind of looking back at it. And the whole point of this video is to, look back and see kind of the change in Asuka since this match. Belair won the first go-around. So we're kind of looking back here and playing up just sort of the change in Asuka since that first match and what could have happened with Bianca Belair since then, too, with some, different title defenses along the way and all that. So we're really playing that up and how much basically things have changed since that first match between Bianca, and Asuka the first time around. So that's really what we're playing up here with the video package. And as we said, we know these two will go face-to-face and square off for the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania. So 67 for that one. That's how we sort of continue that feud on this episode. Then the career continues for Samoa Joe. As Joe gets the win over Shinsuke Nakamura, 9:42, the Coquina Clutch does it. We set this up last week, sort of again. We really played this up with a video package. Could this be Joe's last match? A tough opponent in Nakamura, but he continues here to have his career extended as he gets the win, 64. Something I forgot, and I realized that when we booked the match because we got the note, we did book this match several months ago, and well, they had bad chemistry, and I think it surprised us at the time, but I completely forgot they had bad chemistry. So, we booked a match with bad chemistry, so it gets a 64, so it's fine. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, and I had already booked the match, so I'm like, I'm not going to pull it now. So yeah, we went with it. Joe gets another win. And so the streak continues for Joe. Remember, if he loses, he has said he will retire, but not the case at the moment as Joe gets another win. However, after the match, Joe, a hard-fought victory, and who comes out to stand on the ramp here? None other than Gunther. And we have Gunther starting to stare down Samoa Joe. Joe's in the ring. Remember, this is the second time we actually had this happen. These two cross paths backstage several weeks ago. But now, Gunther standing on the ramp, staring down Samoa Joe, and knowing what's on the line for Joe. Could this mean something in the future between these two? We will find out. 64 for this segment. All right, now we get to Pat McAfee with Brock Lesnar. And the Beast incarnate has showed up here at SmackDown. And McAfee just wants to know, Brock, you weren't here last week. Xavier Woods had a lot to say after what you did at No Way Out to Kofi Kingston, his best friend. And Pat just kind of tippy-toeing around the question here. But Brock just says, look, Pat, you don't have to ask anything. Xavier Woods wants to make me pay, for what I've done. Well, how about Xavier Woods comes out there and makes me pay anytime, anywhere? I'll come out here next week. I'll sit in the middle of the ring. How about that? To start SmackDown next week, I will come out and sit right in the middle of the ring. And if Xavier Woods wants to make me pay, then he can come on out and make me pay. But I've got better things to do tonight. And so that's kind of Lesnar's response here, saying that if Woods wants to make him pay, he'll come out, start SmackDown next week. That he will come out right off the bat, sit in the ring, and we'll see what happens. So that's kind of your follow-up there. We know we're heading to Big E versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, but what will happen as Lesnar has essentially called out Xavier Woods here and telling him, come on, make me pay. Go right ahead. So Lesnar seems pretty confident here about that proposition. 74 for this one. All right, now we get an announcement. Speaking of next week, we're going to have a 6-woman tag. And in the process of announcing the 6-woman tag, it is announced that we have 2 new additions to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. We know that Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Dakota Kai, and Kairi Sane have all been announced for that, as well as Deonna Purrazzo. On the Raw side, Bayley and Toni Storm have been announced. However, it is now made official that the 2 women who were in action at No Way Out, Raquel Gonzalez and Paige, who lost to Bianca and Asuka respectively, they are both going to join that match. So these 6 women will all be in it, and so that's why next week we'll have a 6-woman tag. Alexa, Raquel, Charlotte versus Paige, Dakota Kai, and Kairi Sane. 6-woman tag action next week. So as I told you guys before, I started setting up the match. I said, look, you just got to realize this Money in the Bank is not going to be even. It is going to be very SmackDown heavy, but we do have a couple stars in Bayley and Toni Storm from Raw joining the mix. but it was just sort of the nature of the depth of the rosters. And as I've said before, I think the women's depth on SmackDown is significantly more versus Raw, which Raw is very top-heavy in terms of the top stars we have on that brand in the women's division. So, yeah, a lot of SmackDown competitors, 7-2, if you make the count there. That's how many we'll have in terms of SmackDown and Raw in this 9-woman Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. 6-woman tag next week, 65 for this one. All right, speaking of, Kairi Sane in action here. She gets a win over Chelsea Green, who will not be in that match. Her friend Deonna Purrazzo will be, though, as we know. 508, the win here. So, yeah, I mean, Chelsea, as we talked about before, her in-ring popularity is pretty much non-existent based on where she was at this point in our save. Remember, this goes back to 2021. So, you know, popularity is not really there, but, yeah, so we're not really using her very much at the moment. So she's just kind of in that best friend getting beat role, unfortunately, for Chelsea Green. 46 for this one. All right. Now we get a special sit-down interview, which we've been hyping up. We didn't really hype it up, but we have to assume we did. We've been promoting it throughout the week that Michael Cole was going to sit down and have a special interview with Damian Priest. And so Cole is questioning. We get kind of the video here of Cole questioning Damian Priest's recent actions, which we know sort of culminated in Priest making the turn on Drew McIntyre at No Way Out, costing them the tag team championships opportunity there. And so Cole just asking the question, you know, Damian, what's changed? And we just see Damian Priest sitting there just saying, you know what's changed. And Michael Cole's like, well, do you care to elaborate? Priest is like, nope. I've already said what I've had to say. And Cole's just like, you don't have anything else to say about what you've become and what you did to your friend, Drew McIntyre. And Priest just says, no, I said everything I needed to say last week to Drew McIntyre. I have nothing else to say, Michael Cole. And Cole's just like, you have nothing to say. That's right. I've said everything I need to say. And Cole's just getting frustrated here. He's basically getting the no comment treatment from Damian Priest, who did say a lot last week in terms of talking about how he didn't want to be the sidekick. He was not going to be the sock in the Rock and Sock connection. He was better basically than Drew McIntyre, John Cena, The Rock, 3 people he's teamed up with over the past several months. Priest said he was better than all of them. And Cole just continues to try to pry here, but Priest is like, no. And that's when he sort of just breaks and says, Michael Cole, I'm not saying anything else. My actions will speak for everything, and you will see soon enough what I've been trying to tell you all along. And so that's what Priest has to say here as we further the things between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. So a very frustrating interview and a frustrated Michael Cole here with Damian Priest, who doesn't have a lot to add to what he's already said. So 79 for this segment. And again, this is kind of playing up something that will make a little more sense here in the future. But for now, this is where we're at as we are 2 weeks out from WrestleMania, and you guys know where this is headed. So 79 for this one. All right, now we go to the match. It is our main event, as it is John Cena defending against The Miz, the United States Championship on the line. And so we're going to have a little angle here to kind of tell you what happens in the match. It gets an 87, so tremendous stuff. So what happens along the way? We have Cena and The Miz going at it. And eventually, Cena goes for the AA. Well, The Miz is not going to try to lose here. So, to avoid getting hit with the AA, Miz knocks down the referee. So, of course, we've got a ref bump, right? Why not? So, we've got a ref bump. The ref goes down. And so, Cena, Miz able to take advantage, take down Cena. But then Miz goes over, and now he has the United States Championship in his hands, and we just kind of see Miz stop for a second, looking at the title, sort of salivating here. This is what he's been after. And so, he's going to go hit John Cena with the United States title, but the crowd erupts. And they're not erupting because the Miz is about to hit Cena. They're erupting because here comes Sami Zayn limping down the aisle, and Sami goes over and Miz goes to swing, and Sami takes the belt away from him, and that's when Sami clocks the Miz with the United States title to send the Miz down, and then we have Sami sort of holding the belt in his hands as Cena gets up. Now Cena's looking at Sami with the belt in Sami's hands, so we kind of get a little bit of a stare down there. Then Sami just drops the belt, and Cena hits the AA on the Miz. Referee comes to. what a glorious WWE type finish here as we get the interference. 87, and yes, it is John Cena defending successfully the United States Championship. 11:42. I know it says submission here, but we were just going with the AA as the finish. This is a 77. I thought this would do a little bit better, in all honesty. We kept it a little shorter. These two, stamina-wise, are not the best, but it's fine. So that's kind of, what we get out of these two. I did think it would do a little bit better, but I'm not, I thought it was going to get an 85 or anything like that. But Cena gets the win, and what do you know, right? And the ultimate sort of twist, and think about where all we've been at in the save. The twist is that Sami Zayn somehow helps John Cena retain the United States Championship. So we've come a long way, have we, with the Sami Zayn and John Cena story that, of course, has had The Miz sort of prying between the two, and that is kind of what's led to it. The Miz is so awful that John Cena and Sami Zayn have had no choice but to sort of somehow, for one match, have the same goal, and that's to make sure that The Miz does not have the United States Championship. So quite a whirlwind there, but we see that here. So 77 overall, and yes, we are going to make it official as Sami Zayn, is going to officially turn babyface. And this is one of those we've been pushing all along. We've never really used Sami as just this dastardly heel, even in the scenarios where he has gone at John Cena. If you really think about it, it hasn't been anything too over the top. It's just been Sami in his own sort of conspiracy theory world with John Cena. We've used it somewhat as a comedy sort of portion, more so than anything. Sami hasn't been attacking people backstage and anything like that. So we've done that for a reason, not to really, keep Sami as just this evil heel by any means. So, so we've done that. We've been building it up for 9 segments in terms of the turn. And we've kind of been able to hide that with how we've booked the segment. That was kind of intentional, but I think you guys pretty much knew that it was coming. So we are going to officially turn Sami Zayn babyface. It's a complete success. We did build it up enough. We weren't going to just do it in one segment because otherwise we probably would have got the note. We were turning, having too many shock turns, if you will. But this one wasn't really a shock. I've been pretty much playing this up for a little while now. And so, yeah, quite a 2022 so far for Sami. Starts off the year winning United States Championship from Kevin Owens on Raw in a stunning development. Then somehow we've got to this 2 weeks before WrestleMania, him and John Cena somehow on the same page here to deny The Miz the United States Championship. So after the match, what happens? Welp, here comes Mick Foley, as we just sort of teased that Sami Zayn, John Cena holds up his championship afterwards. Sami was still there. He just had his hands on the United States title. And so Cena, just kind of sitting there with, the belt, and we see Sami just kind of mouth to him. Doesn't get a microphone or anything. We just hear him say, "I'm going to get that title back." And we just kind of have Sami sort of smiling at John Cena. Cena smiles back, and then he just holds up the championship here. And that is when The Miz is starting to retreat up the aisle. Mick Foley comes out, and that is when Foley says, I've seen enough. I've seen all I need to see. No, we're not going to have you three in a match again, but here's what I want to see, a match we haven't seen yet, and that is when Foley announces that at WrestleMania, The Miz will go one-on-one with Sami Zayn. So, Zayn and The Miz is official for WrestleMania, something, again, we've been building up for several months now. When you kind of, figure where they were as the heel team. What's that? I probably went all the way back to November, late October. I don't remember. So we officially built to it. It is going to be Sami versus The Miz. I know, and that's what I say, this maybe could feel like a little bit of a letdown when where Sami is in reality now. But remember, we were starting this a couple years ago before anything, kind of came to be of the ultimate rise of Sami Zayn as what he's become now. But it is worth noting. It can feel like a little bit of a step down to have Sami and The Miz, but it is something we built up. So 85 for this one. So if you want the perfect transition, well, what comes next? Well, here's what happens. So here comes Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman coming out for the contract signing. And so first off, we get Reigns, who has got, John Cena's just gotten out of the ring. Foley, coming down to the ring he's going to, oversee this contract signing. The Miz is out of there, and so Cena starts to walk up, and we get Reigns getting in John Cena's face. Of course, we've had these two go at it, SummerSlam. We remember the sort of big climactic match we had between Reigns and Cena then. So Reigns gets in Cena's face, Reigns holding the Universal Championship, Cena holding the United States Championship, Paul Heyman's just right there instigating things as usual. So Cena continues to walk on. But then Reigns keeps walking down to the ring. And then here is Sami Zayn, the just turned babyface Sami Zayn. And Reigns walks up to Sami, and we see Sami just kind of right there. Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, face-to-face. First time we've ever had that in our save. So then Zayn just kind of walks off, and so that's kind of how we leave it here as Reigns goes to the ring for this big contract signing. So first thing we do after we turn Sami babyface, we put him in a segment where he goes face-to-face with Roman Reigns. So there's your nice little, I don't know what you want to call it, little spark of reality, I guess you could say, with that. But that is how we do it there. So it gets a 91, and that leads us into the big contract signing segment where absolutely nothing could possibly go wrong for any party involved in this one. So here we go. The contract signing, 99. I figured we'd get a 98 to 100. I knew it had to be that with these guys involved. So, all right, Mick Foley's there. Seth Rollins comes out, and the tension is real, as you could say. As we've got Reigns and Heyman on one side, Rollins on the other. Foley reiterates that he has security watching over. No one will come out from the back. It's not going to happen. Foley says, this is going to be it. We're going to be the ones in this ring. Let's do this now. Let's get it over with. None of us want to be out here because, trust me, we all have different feelings about each other. And so that's when Foley just kind of says, let's get this done. So he first off asks Roman Reigns to sign, as the champion here, and he wants Reigns to make sure. But before that can happen, Paul Heyman grabs the microphone, and Roman just kind of sitting back, directing Heyman here. And that's when Paul Heyman says, you know what, Mick? I would like to propose a change before anyone signs any contract here. And he said, I think it's only fair that as the champion, Seth Rollins has this, beautiful briefcase over here that's going to be cashed in for a shot at my client, the Tribal Chief, and his Universal Championship. Well, Seth Rollins had it easy to be able to just hand over a briefcase and get a shot at the title. Well, here's what I think. And that is when Heyman goes to, I think we should be able to propose what kind of match that the challenger will have to face if he's going to take the belt from my client, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. And then Heyman goes into it. And he says, Seth, something I've been thinking about is that you want to fight Roman Reigns. You want to really take out Roman Reigns for everything that he's done to you. And oh, by the way, everything that he's done to your wife. And of course, this gets the crowd going. We've got, Heyman once again referencing Seth's wife here. And so that gets Rollins a little bit riled up here. So Seth, Foley said, you got to control yourself. Not happening early on. Heyman's starting to kind of push some buttons here. And then he says, but just hold on a second, Seth. But all I'm going to propose is that if you want to fight Roman Reigns, then we should actually fight. And he said, I don't know about you, but all the fights I've seen before, a real fight does not end in a pinfall. It ends in survival. And that is when Heyman says, so Seth, I ask you the question, can you survive the Tribal Chief? When you tried to take him out, he got back up. And Seth, that was your mistake. You let him back up. You didn't crush him completely. You let the Tribal Chief back up. And that is when Heyman says, so, if you want a real fight, then I think we should do it this way. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, last man standing at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship. No pinfall, no submission. The last person who can stand walks out of here because you let the Tribal Chief back up, and we also made the mistake of letting you back up, and we won't let that happen again. So Rollins has just kind of, remember, he's had his buttons pushed by Heyman and all of this, and Foley's just saying, Seth, you do not have to accept this. We are doing this as a normal match. And Rollins just sort of looks over, and Rollins has nothing to say here because he's, you can tell he's sort of gritting his teeth. He wants to just take out Roman Reigns right now. But Rollins just nods his head and says that he'll do it. Last man standing, Rollins agrees. And he just, we sort of hear Rollins. He will not let Roman Reigns back up. He is going to take everything from him. We've heard that before. So that's kind of what we push here with that. So it is agreed to. We get the contract signed. Roman Reigns officially signs the contract after Seth accepts. Rollins signs the contract after that. And then we have Foley sort of step in, and you can see a little bit of a sigh of relief from Mick Foley here, saying, all right, we got through this. Everything's fine. And so Heyman goes to walk away. Reigns goes to walk away, but then Heyman turns back around as Rollins is kind of standing opposite of him. And that is when Heyman looks over at Seth and says, but you know what, Seth? The problem is you might not be able to make it to WrestleMania. And Rollins is just kind of looking straight at Reigns. He's expecting Reigns to charge at him. But then it's not Reigns that charges at Seth Rollins. It is the debuting Solo Sikoa, who comes from behind, towel on the head, and Solo attacks Seth Rollins. And now we've got Solo going at Rollins. He's attacked Rollins from behind, and Heyman's just standing there watching all this. Again, as sort of the puppet master who's orchestrated all this. Here comes Solo. He's attacked Seth Rollins. Rollins is down. Now we've got Mick Foley, who just had this, thought he had a perfect contract signing that was going to go well, not result in any violence, not happening. So Foley tries to step in, and that is when Roman Reigns just turns around and sees Mick Foley trying to interfere, and Reigns shoves Mick Foley out of the way, and Foley basically falls into the corner. And Foley is down as Solo continues to beat down Seth Rollins here. And Reigns just stands over and watches as Solo is taking out Rollins. And then Reigns just turns and looks at Mick Foley, who is down in the corner. And Foley, has been sort of shoved down by Reigns here. And we see Foley kind of look up from this position on the mat here as he looks up at Roman Reigns, who is just staring a hole in Mick Foley here. And this is how we go off the air. A 92 segment, the debut of Solo Sikoa. And the first time we've used him in the save, remember, we started in 2021, so Solo was not part of this. I did bring him in here. I got, the graphic to match it from one of the newer graphic updates and all that. We sort of inserted him in because, look, as we said, we're playing against ourselves here. So we add Solo to the mix, and now things have changed a little bit, where after No Way Out, if you remember, it was Rollins who basically, all he talked about was how Roman Reigns was all alone, and now Reigns has Heyman back, and now he has the debuting Solo Sikoa. So, gimmick changes here. Solo gets a poor gimmick to start off with, so it's fine. It'll get better. But the problem, so Solo is officially the problem here. Gets a poor rating. I mean, look, this was kind of hit or miss. I mean, it could have done well, could have not. He didn't come out of it looking good, but he's not on the same level as these other guys, so it is what it is. But that's how we finish up the show. The debut of Solo Sikoa. This gets an 86, one of our better TV shows so far. So that's how we wrap up. I know that was a longer segment to end things off there, but a lot happening with Reigns and Heyman suggesting the last man standing. So that is going to be our official main event. We know now. Last man standing, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship, Night 2 of WrestleMania. So, wow, a lot going on there. Let's see what we get to before we wrap up. All right, so that was SmackDown. Awesome show, fantastic reviews. And, well, that's not the top story, though, because the top story is none other than Chris Jericho. Is he going to re-sign with AEW? Well, folks, we've got an opportunity here. If we want to sign Jericho, we absolutely could. He would want to come in, and everybody wants him, as we can see. A lot of people would be rooting for Chris Jericho to join the company. You guys tell me. Do you want the Ocho back in WWE? Because we certainly got the opportunity. I mean, I could certainly come up with some storylines. I wouldn't lack any storylines to have Jericho back in the mix. But you guys let me know. Should we hire the one and only Chris Jericho? You guys can let me know on that. So, all right, Jericho's contract's ending. We're going to leave it right there. I'm sure he's got an offer from AEW. We'll see what that is. I'm pretty sure we can outdo them. Evil Uno relocating. He's on a short list. Delmi Exo changing her style. Drug test fees is there. So SmackDown gets a 5.81. That's a pretty good rating for us. 5.1 million viewers watching SmackDown. It's got to be because of the Tribal Chief. Veer's contract is up. Will he come back? Bianca Belair, contract up. Dolph's contract's up. Morrison's contract's up. I just want to let you guys see all those. I've already put in the negotiations for those, but I wanted to kind of let you see those for there. But the big news is Chris Jericho. Could be a free agent. Did we sign him? We'll find out on that. So, all right, there you go. Again, that was SmackDown. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you guys as always. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And on the next episode, it will be Raw, but like I said, check out all the other stuff on our channel, as we've got the AEW save is back. The Cverse TCW save has been a big hit so far. You guys seem to really be enjoying those, and I'm really enjoying getting back into the Cverse. So if you haven't played the Cverse before, or you're kind of like, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, give it a shot. Give the TCW save a shot. It's a lot of fun to kind of just build a new world with different characters. So check all that out on there, and we'll have a lot more episodes to come as well for that series. Exploring the Cverse series is out there too, so you can really get into the Cverse that way. So lots of good stuff you can check out on the channel, and a lot of different stuff I've got coming as well. Some new stuff to the channel we're going to add to the mix here soon enough. So I've got a new series I'm working on, and some other things too. So appreciate you guys as always for the great feedback and the great support here on the channel. So all right, be sure again to check everything out there, and on the next episode of our WWE 2022 save, it will be Raw for March Week 3.